like to welcome Kevin Locke, who will be doing 2 presentations with us. This man has done so much for so long. He has provided us stories and music for many, many generations. And it's our pleasure to welcome him to talk about the Walking the Star Road. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about doing some flute music. So I can do that. It's not exactly on topic, but it's good. I've been doing the flute for almost 50 years. I've got a lot of different flutes, and some of them are even from the 19th century. But in any case, it's a very old tradition here in North America, and I'll play a song, a traditional song that they play on the flute. What they do is that they play songs having to do with romance. Could be bad, could be good, could be ugly, either one. But in any case, I think that's universal all over the world. Everybody has something comparable. But here especially like in the Great Lakes area, the woodlands, the prairies, southern plains, northern plains, even over the Rocky Mountains, this flute practice spread out, and it's a very unique genre of music that developed to express. It's kind of like haiku poetry. So all of the flute songs are based on a vocal composition, so that the first part of the song usually has several repetitions of a phrase, which is kind of mysterious, the meaning is hidden, it's cryptic. And so then the second part of the song, the melody changes a little bit, and it discloses or reveals the meaning of the first part. So it's like a literary form, and it was very, very popular and widespread in the pre-reservation days. Then it kind of slowly died out. Of course, it was actively suppressed, like all the music during the reservation period. And when I was younger, some of the older generation was around who knew these kind of songs, and that's where I got some of it. And I've got different kinds of songs, and this one is, I'll do one here. This is from Sac and Fox tribe that it's based in around, Cushing, Stroud, Drumright, Oklahoma. And they have the same language as the people up in Iowa, the Mishkwaki or Meskwaki tribe in Iowa. So they're kind of split. And so this is a song. It's in that language. It's in Mishkwaki or Sagi language. And it's about this person and their sweetheart lives on the other side of the river. Their Valentine is on the other side of the river. And apparently that river must be really deep, probably wide. It's probably really swift. Maybe it's in the spring of the year, and they can't cross it. There's no bridge, I guess. There's no ferry system. Probably maybe the internet server went down or something. I don't know. But so then that's what this person is saying at the beginning. And if there's any Mishkwaki speakers out there, I might mispronounce, but this first part says, Niguina dawi kinapanaso, agamahek kiwinewanan. My sweetheart, my Valentine's over there, across the river. Next part says, Gata benaki wampamu, kiwi hawana. So when you're thinking about me, take your mirror, wampamu, flash that light over, then I know that you're still remembering or thinking about me. ke kiwe ne waya na ya ne ne kwe na ta we na pena ya so yo akama he ke kiwe ne waya na ya ne ay 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 kanaya pena kiwaya pamoyo ne kiwi wawaya sene mawe na kiwe hawaye ne nekwe na tawe na pena ya soyo akama he ke kiwe ne waya na ya ne
Thank you
right.
so much. Thank you. And
Yes,
go
ahead.
real quick thing. If anyone wants to ask Kevin a question, just post it in the chat and we'll read it to him.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, anything at all. Now, just before we get off that topic, I'll just mention that a lot of people are familiar with the Native American flute, and that was invented in 1980. And the Native American flute was invented by, there's an article about it in this, gosh, what's it called? It's a periodical, and it's by the International Flute Society. And the guy who invented it, his name is Michael Graham Allen. He's a non-Indian Euro-American gentleman. And he created these flutes, and it's based on a wind instrument called the shakuhachi. It's from Japan. And there's several different tuning systems. So he took one of them. It's called the melodic scale. And so he invented it, and then it was well marketed. And Carlos Nakai did recordings on it. They went platinum, sold millions. And so when you go to all these parks, like you go to Yosemite or Yellowstone and all over the internet, everything you see is Native American flute, but it's not an indigenous flute. It's not a traditional flute, but everybody thinks it is. But I'm kind of on a one-man campaign to keep that original flute tradition alive. Those are the kind of songs that they play. The one that I just did, those are like from pre-reservation days, and they survived, but they survived like along with the languages because they have really rich vocabulary, like idiomatic expressions. Some of them are really humorous, and they really complement the use of the language. And that's why I think in certain communities that's retained. Now we're losing a lot of that in South Dakota amongst Lakota. But anyway, I'll put that to the side. If anybody has any questions, they can let me know on that. But I'd be happy to do a program just on those kind of songs because they're different from powwow songs, round dance. They're totally different kind of song. But speaking of songs on this topic of walking the red road, or walking the star road, I'd like to dedicate a song for that because, this is one of the things that in the many of the tribes, they talk about this. I mentioned it, red road, but this color red is associated with the heavens above. So when they say the red road, they're really talking about walking in the holy ways or the heavenly ways. And I don't know if people knew this, but the indigenous people in North America invented the time machine, invented space travel. And what that is it has to do with this practice. It's a devotional practice. It's widespread. It's probably the most ubiquitous or widespread devotional practice here in North America. And it's, I know it doesn't sound good, but they call it sweat lodge. doesn't sound good. But you go to any Holiday Inn and they have this, what they call sauna. That might be better, but it's a Sami word from way up in the northern part of Scandinavia. And they do that all around the Arctic as well. In the subarctic, they have that all over Siberia. They call it banya. And all over North America, we do this as well. I know in Lakota language, we call this inipi, but it's inside of there, it's totally dark. They bring all these elements of life in there. And you enter into a timeless, a placeless realm. In this realm, everything becomes connected, all the powers of the creation, and then the heavens and the earth come together as well. And so this is one of the foundational teachings of this, the divine educators who came upon this land throughout time. And I mentioned this last night. We had a real nice discussion last night about this holy soul as a woman who appeared amongst the Lakota, this Ptehincha Laskawi. Ptehincha Laskawi is a white buffalo calf woman. Some could also say Ptesawi, either way. But anyway, she enjoined many devotional practices so that we could connect with the heavenly realms. We could always walk on that star road, And so there are many things that are associated with her appearance. When she came, she had the people bring sage, which is it grows quite a bit all around the prairies, and the broadleaf sage, and she had them spread this out so the people could, when they gather to hear her message, they could associate that message that she's going to bring them with this beautiful aroma, the sage, which is very powerful medicinal properties. It's been proven that it'll purify. So maybe, if people want to use that for the COVID to eliminate, to purify. I know a lot of people buy Lysol and Clorox and everything. Well, we got something better. These traditional medicines and herbs, and they use it. You can use it for that, but it also draws down, the good blessings, and it makes people cognizant of this beautiful star road that we walk throughout this life. And so I have a little bit of it here. I've got a little shell in there. You can see that. And while this is going, I'll just offer a song. And a lot of times when people, they can use this, but some people use a cedar too. It's slightly different result of it. The cedar is a lot of times associated with the thunders also. And one of the ones that we use, especially in the northern areas, is a sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is also very divine aroma, purifying aroma. But I'll offer a little song here, and it's actually a song that we use in the Inipi, or like they say, sauna or sweat lodge, and it's talking about this heaven and earth coming together. And the person in the song, they're saying, I'm making my prayers now, hear me. I'm making my prayers, hear me. And then it says, the next part says, here in this heavenly lodge, this heavenly place, I'm praying that everything could be made holy. Everything could be made heavenly. So that's the prayer. We conjoin heaven and earth. And that's why these holy souls have appeared throughout time, is to bridge that gap, that perceived gap that we have between heaven and earth, between the worlds here and then the star realms above. And so I'll use this. I've got a nice little fan here. You can see that. It's just, these are the king feathers. There's 12 tail feathers on any bird, most birds. And these are the 2 center tail feathers of a immature golden eagle. Actually, it's more of a mature golden eagle, this one. Immature would be black and white, but this one's more mature. So I'd like to offer the song for everybody here, that we could indeed have a fuller, a better connection with not only all of the creation, but the heavens and the earth, that they may all come together. And this is the song, and this is the prayer that people make too, is that we may eliminate all these barriers. Here in the United States, we have this lot of barriers, you know, like the black-white issue, all these misunderstandings and things. But once we elevate ourselves above that, and all those things disappear, and all these outward semblances, you could say, like maybe race or language or gender, whatever it is, just go above that. That's what that eagle reminds us of. Our birthright is to soar on the wings of knowledge. And Wakacha eche tuero Mastia tipiwa ogna iwaye che namahoe iwaye che wakacha eche tuero So that's a good song for us on our journey of our star road. And I was thinking about this as a good theme, since I know that there's one of the underlying themes of this conference this time is the stars, the heavens, and the exploration and journey thereof of the heavens. And I was being a little facetious about this, having invented time travel and space travel, but in a way it is, because you know on this star road that we're walking in this world, we ourselves as possessing this the spirit that we do walk the heavens, we walk throughout the stars. And if you ever go to some of these museums, you'll see that you'll see exhibits of these baby moccasins. And I think it's not just the Lakota, but all throughout the prairies. They would when children are born, when they're first born, then the parents or maybe the relatives will bead moccasins for these little kids, and they always do the soles of the moccasins are completely beaded. And of course, before beads, they use the porcupine quills too. So some of these examples go way, way back. And so then that's the question that people ask. And even young children or young people could have the soles of their moccasins beaded. And so then a lot of people wonder, why is that? Why would they bead the soles? They're just walking on it. But that's from the idea that we do walk on this heavenly path, and we have our origin in this way. So they say that when people are born, they descend down from the heavens. Their spirit does. Of course, our physical reality is from this earth, made up of this earth, but our spirit is an emanation from the worlds above. You could say the star worlds above. And some people even be more specific about it. I know Bobby Bridger was talking about this star knowledge book by Goodman. Anyway, he asked me to do some research, and at the time when he was doing that, Goodman, on star knowledge, we had a lot of elders around, and some of them, they didn't even speak English, but they had a lot of valuable information. I know we had one elder from a little community of Little Eagle, and he I can't remember it, but it's in that book, and we documented it. But he had a name for each one of the stars in the Big Dipper, because they say that when the mankind emerged onto this earth, there were seven leaders that led their people out here upon this earth. And then when those 7 leaders ascended from this world, they took their place, and they formed that constellation known as the Big Dipper. We call it Wichaki-Uhapi, but in English it's called the Big Dipper. And so then some will say that when a soul comes into this world, they emerge out of there, out of that Big Dipper, and they make their way down upon this earth, and then that upon conception, that spirit, which, like we say, is an emanation from the star worlds above, associates with with our physical body. So we make this journey from here, and so then you see those little baby moccasins. Those baby moccasins represents they're still so closely associated with that star world that that even though they're not walking yet, that's the path that they're still on. And they always say that there's a soft spot on the top of a baby. I forget what it's called. They call it Pe'owiwila. Maybe somebody knows it's English, but it's a soft spot right up in here. It's still, you can see it beating for a newborn. And they say that's represents that connection that we have, with that close connection with the star world, the star realms above. And even children, some will say that this word for children, wakaja, they say wakaja means a child, but it's got that word waka, which again could mean holy or heavenly, something emanating from the spiritual or holy worlds above, the star worlds, you could say. So that pe'owiwila, it's beating, iapra, that movement represents that close association. And so children are very, very close, to that star world above. You know, I do this hoop dancing, and I recently saw, he's an elder now. His name is Leonard Crowdog. Some people may have heard of him. He was quite well known, but Leonard Crowdog. Anyway, I saw him recently. A lot of people don't know that probably 60 years ago, he was a champion hoop dancer, really good hoop dancer. So then I asked him one time recently, where does this hoop dance come from? Oh, he said, he says, it comes from out there, out in the universe. It comes from out in the universe. He says, it comes from the same place we all come from. Everything that's good, everything holy and beautiful comes from that place. All the gifts that we have here in this world come from that place. He said, all these children come from there. He says, you are really blessed. He says, he's talking to me. He says, you're blessed. He said, because you get to go to all these schools and be with all these children, these star beings, these holy ones, these sacred ones. They haven't forgotten where they're from, that they're from the heavenly worlds above. But so you can help them to create that good foundation, so they'll never forget. Most of the adults, he said, you know, they forget these things. They get distracted. He said, but through these ways that we have, through these heavenly ways that we have from out there in the universe, we can bring them all back in. We can bring them back into that hoop, this world. So anyway, this is our journey that we make on the star road. We come down upon this earth and we still walk on that road. Usually they call it the red road, which again just means this heavenly realms, because the color red's always associated with the creator above. English, you say God, but you know, Wakantanka. So that color red is called the creator's color. It's always associated with that. And so we walk this road. And then I want to tell a little story. You know, last night it was mentioned about how, you know, everything on the heavens, on the earth, is a reflection, is a counterpart to something up in the heavens. So all these constellations, they have significance, they have a meaning. And even a lot of tribes, I think maybe even the Quapaw tribe, I know Omaha, many of the different tribes, you know, they have the clan system. And when a person is born into this world, you know, they're usually, one of their parents is from a sky clan, something from the heavens above, maybe from the birds or the stars or something. And then the other parent is from a earth clan. So everybody from these different tribal backgrounds, they trace their identity is a combination of the heavens and the earth coming together. They come together. So all of us are really like this. We bear this heritage throughout our lives. You know, we have this unique combination of all these divine or heavenly attributes. So then we walk this world, and then we also carry a name with us. We carry a name, and this name that we have could be from our clan. It could be, you know, maybe from a vision that we had, or it could be maybe something, a deed or some characteristic that we had that distinguishes us. And usually a tribal elder or somebody is the one, maybe within our family, they'll bestow that name, they'll pass that name down, maybe from that ancestral line or that descendancy. But usually what they'll do if a name is given like this, they'll really examine the character of that individual, that person, because they'll be carrying this name throughout their life as they walk on this journey, they walk on this road. And then when that name is given, the elder who's, or that person of honor who's identified to bestow that name, they usually will tie a feather. It could be an eagle feather for a male, or maybe an eagle plume. And that, of course, that eagle feather represents our heavenly side of our heritage, you know, our divine attributes. The eagle represents like the ascendant nature of the human spirit. The feather represents all those virtues, which is like the feathers that you and I need to propel ourselves heavenward throughout this life, to carry. Because, you know, after all, the feather is the instrumentality that empowers the wings to cause the eagle to soar aloft. So for us as human beings, our wings, our feathers and our wings are the virtues. Of course, each one of us, we have all in potentiality. We can express or manifest all these virtues, all the heavenly virtues, but every one of us has certain dominant virtues. So oftentimes a person who's given the name will identify that virtue and name them accordingly. Could be a name, you know, associated, because all of the creation expresses these divine attributes as well. But anyway, so that could be a child who's given a name, an Indian name. And when they give that name, then they usually take them out in the center. Could be, sometimes they'll do it at a powwow, could be there. A lot of times they'll do it at maybe a Sundance too. There might be a certain time in there, or any significant type of a ceremony. And that by virtue of the fact that they're having a big ceremony, that space, that spot that's designated becomes, again, the center of the universe right there. So it's a very significant place where that naming takes place. But then that elder will take that plume or that feather and then pray with it. And then with that child or that young person, whoever's designated to receive that name, we'll have them and we'll face each of the four directions. And then we'll announce out that name to everything that abides, everything that resides, everything that's connected with that direction, all the different topographical features, you know, maybe the mountains or the rivers, all the mineral kingdom, the plant, the animal, everything that's there, the heavens above, everything, that name will go out and all of creation will be addressed and called upon to recognize and to bestow gifts and blessings upon this newly welcomed one. And of course, all the ancestors from the past, all the relatives that are present right there, everybody witnesses this as that name is announced to all the four directions. And there's usually a song that accompanies that. Then after that, that newly named one will be taken around and all the relatives will shake hands like that. But then this person will carry that name throughout their life. Will carry that name throughout their life. And then when a person dies, then they'll continue that journey onward. And if you ever look up, I know a lot of people live in maybe urban areas, but if you go out in an area where there's reduced light pollution, then you can look up in the heavens and you see that constellation. It's called Milky Way. Really, you're just looking at the whole galaxy on edge. I think we're even within that Milky Way ourselves. But if you if you look on a very clear night where there's no light interference, you can see everything pops out, all the features of the Milky Way. In Lakota, they call it Wanahi Chanku. Wanahi Chanku is the spirit road, the road of all the holy souls, the spirits that go on from this world. But anyway, as you look up there, you can see kind of straight up, almost straight up, there's a, the path forks, there's a fork in the road. And the one fork goes straight. It's the main road that goes just straight, straight, straight. And there's the other one that kind of goes and then it trails off and then it fades out to nothing. See, it goes out to nothing. And then right in the middle of that fork, there's a bright star. There's a bright star, and that's what they call that Hihakacha. Hihakacha means owl maker. Owl maker. The owl maker is an entity. And so this, as the soul makes that journey on that road, the owl maker will guard that road. Owl maker guards that road. So then as that departed soul begins to come close, that owl maker. And by the way, that's the real name for that highest peak in the Black Hills. You know, Black Hills is the highest point between the Rockies and the Alps in Europe. And so there's a peak there. It was called Harney Peak, but you know, Harney was he was a genocidal maniac. The Lakota call him Wichakte, woman killer. Woman killer. He slaughtered women, children, old people, mostly women though. He slaughtered them. He was an army general. He was very infamous, and they named that after him. And so, but for time immemorial, we call it Hihakacha, owl maker. That's why people make that pilgrimage up there to pray for the departed loved ones. That was discontinued, forcibly discontinued, but recently started. You see people making pilgrimage there again. But anyway, so this Hihakacha guards that road. And so as that soul is approaching, the Hihakacha will come out and will say, Hoya, nitue. Say, hey, say, hey, who are you? We'll say that. And as that soul gets closer, approaches, then the owl maker will say, Ishe, daku inichiapihe. And what is your name? What is your name? So then at that time, that soul making that journey is supposed to state their name. They state their name, whatever their name is. And then when they state their name, then their reality becomes manifest upon them. So if you ever look at these pictures, like especially 19th century pictures, photographs, you see the way the people adorn themselves. Oh, that beautiful adornment. It's supposed to represent their spiritual reality. Maybe the paint, all the accoutrements that they have on themselves. It's not just for show. It's not just for ego or whatever. It represents their reality as they would appear before. Of course, it's different from tribe to tribe, but Lakota say owl maker. So then their reality will appear. All the things that they accomplish in this life, but it'll appear when they give their name, because that name, remember, was announced out to all of creation. All the heavens and earth witnessed that, heard that name. So this is what the owl maker is attuned to. The owl maker is attuned to all the vibrational forces of creation. So the owl maker knows, and that's what the owl maker sees in that soul. So then if that soul lived up to their name, if they walked this world, this road, this star road, this red road with good faith, they lived up to that name, fulfilled their journey, a good relative, things like this. Then owl maker will just step aside. Will step aside, and then that soul will continue on throughout eternity. It'll keep going all throughout all the star realms beyond, everything above. Continue on. But owl maker really looks at that person like that and sees something amiss that they didn't fulfill. They didn't live up to what they should have done. Then the owl maker will block that path, block that onward journey. And then the only recourse of that soul is to go on the other road we mentioned before. You see it, you look up tonight, might be full moon tonight, maybe towards the new moon, it's more clear. You look up and you see the other path. It fades out to nothing. And that's where that soul is consigned to. But you can't despair. And this is why you see this all over North America. All the traditional people, they do this. They do a memorial. They always have this for their departed loved ones. Some might make a fire, kindle a fire to represent that soul that's making that onward journey. But whatever it is, that the family will some will have a ceremonial or symbolic keeping of the soul, keeping of the spirit. This is one of the divine injunctions of this white buffalo calf woman. She gave that, but there's similar ones all over. And then that family and all the loved ones will consecrate themselves, will devote themselves to performing self-abnegating, altruistic, compassionate acts of service in the name of that departed loved one, because we're so closely conjoined, so closely connected, that we can bolster that name. Remember that name we mentioned before? We do everything in the name of that loved one. So they'll do this, especially consecrate themselves, maybe a year, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, maybe a lifetime. They'll devote to giving of themselves for that departed loved one, always holding that memory sacred and dear. And then they, maybe even after a year, they could put on a big feast, a big memorial giveaway. Again, it'll be for that. But it's in order to push that. You know, none of us knows what our end is, what our life will be. And so we're no longer here, but we depend upon our loved ones to push us over there, keep us up on that road, push us over on that road, get us on there to propel us on our onward journey. So do we depend on our relatives traveling that star road beyond? But it's an endless road throughout all eternity. And all of us are on that road. And this road is, we can see this road is, our roads are all converging. They're all converging now. In the past, we know that everybody was isolated from each other. We were all isolated from each other. But today, now, we can see that all different peoples now have come to our beautiful island. I know in Lakota, we call this Makawita, Earth Island. Some call it Keawita, Turtle Island. But it's reference to the North American continent, this beautiful paradise that the indigenous people have had, our beloved homeland that we cherish and love, that our ancestors have all loved and have given us many secrets, many understandings about how to live well and good in a good way as we walk this star road, the red road here on this earth. And now we see that the relatives from all over have come to walk this road here, right here on this land with us. And so we need to show them. We need to show them how to walk on this land here, because a lot of them don't know. They don't know. And we can see that we're suffering dreadful consequences. But now, as we begin to come together, we can see that it's like a rich, diverse ecosystem. We know that any ecosystem is only as strong as it is diverse. And now we can see there's a critical endangerment of diversity, not just in the physical world as we see mass extinctions all around, but also in the human world as well. You know, North America has one of the greatest attrition of language, probably the place where the greatest language loss on the planet might be Oklahoma, right down there. We're close to the museum because, you know, a lot of the language down there just have a couple speakers. I know some of them are like that, but it's all over. It's all over. And so these represent part of this gifts that we can all bring now. Now is the time of like ingathering of all the different peoples who've been walking these roads. It's like we're climbing a mountain together. In the past, we didn't know each other existed. We were climbing that mountain. And now around this, it's one mountain now. We've all reached that stage in our common ascent of this mountain where we can all see each other. We can see each other. And the summit is coming into sight. But we know we can never reach that summit unless we work together, help each other, share the insights. We all have gifts together, and ancestral gifts. If now is the day to share these, to bring these together. So it's really good. I think that the museum is sponsoring activities like this, so we can try our best. Everybody can try to absorb and then share and then reap the benefits and blessings from these different gifts. And so that's the Star Road that we're on. Like we mentioned, that we have a beginning when our soul appears and we begin this journey, and then we just continue on, just goes on. And now, like we say, our paths are all converging, and this convergence will propel us to new heights, to new understandings. And it's none too soon. None too soon. Now is the time, starting right now, today, as we launch this exciting journey together. So now, maybe I'll turn it over to the moderator. I don't know if there's any discussion, any questions or comments.
Yeah, we do have one question, but before we ask that one, I'm going to ask you one myself, Kevin. You talked about the red road quite a bit, but what about the black road and where the red road crosses that black road?
Yeah, well, these are these paths. They cross, and we're always there at every moment. That's it's such a great meditational or something to reflect on. Is that it represents that power of choice every day. Every moment, every second, every instant of our life. We have that power of free will, and that's also why they give these names. They give these names, like we were saying, these Indian names, to connect us with our ancestors, to connect us with all that. It's meant to bless us, to help us, to strengthen our hearts and minds. And we always have to, this is something that I think is really ancestral heritage. I think it's all over the world, is to constantly reinforce this with the young people, is to counsel them to have strong minds, to give them that foundation to stand upon, so they can continue on this journey. So, like you say, these roads, they intersect at every moment. You'll see that a lot of times. I don't have one here, but they have that design. They call it the medicine wheel. Mm-hmm. The medicine wheel where these paths converge, and it's also said to represent the like, in a way, this path that forks, up in the Milky Way. And interestingly, you're talking about the Okafpa, the Kwapa, mm-hmm. and the Omaha, and and then up, further up, Lakota, our homeland, is we have that the saying. They say the word for south. They say that Okacha. Okacha means down. Actually, the word for south, Itokacha. Iteokacha means to face downstream, facing downstream, because interestingly, all the different rivers that go across the United States, especially in the center, they all go south. They go south, like the Mississippi, they all go down that way. And so this is what they also kind of symbolic of it's just like the earth and the heavens mirror each other, so that riverine system also is reflected up in the heavens with the Milky Way, the direction that the Milky Way goes. So that's the path that we take, that red road. And we don't want to get on the other road.
No.
Stay off the other road. But the thing is that at every moment of our life, we're always at that crossroads, at that juncture.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to really reflect, really pray, like especially now with COVID. I think it's intensifying people's devotional attitude, because none of us knows. It's airborne, it's aerosol, everything like that. We don't know how we're going to react. Everybody, it hits everybody differently. But so it intensifies our devotional attitude. So we have to really take ourselves to account every moment, and make that choice, to keep straight, keep steady, and to pray. Get up every morning, maybe use the sage or something like that. Whatever it is, it's going to help you to focus.
Yeah.
And to There you go.
Yeah, my name is Donnie Katonga, Big Thunder.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see those thunders, they have a road too. They have a path too. So those thunders, they actually, they say that all the instruments that we use, like the rattles for the rain, the drum is that sound of the thunder, the flute is the wind, and the voice is that lightning goes out that puts the energizes, put that charge into everything. So that thunder, that's a sign for the renewal of creation. That's why all the different peoples, like Quapaw, everybody, they have a thunder clan. A lot of the names are connected with the thunders because of the power, the thunders. And they have a path. They have a road too. We have a lot of songs about that too.
We do have a question for you. It said, are there current scientists, native or non-native, who are involved in learning star knowledge, and has any current science or scientists influenced and or strengthened indigenous star knowledge?
Yeah, I think there's really a convergence. I'm really not aware of specific instances of this, like this coming together, the intersection of these different things, but it's happening all over. And I'm sure that it is happening, but I'm just not fully aware of what that is. But yeah, we do have the, there's an interesting thing. There's just tell us as a little amusement since we're talking about stars, but and they did this, they did that moonwalk back in '69, and then they took the footage around. They showed some of these people that didn't have, the people didn't speak English or anything, and then they showed that around, and so these people they saw that, and they said, "Ah, that's nothing." They said, "We went to the moon a long time ago," and they said, "In fact, some of our relatives are still over there." And what it has to do with is we have this trickster character. It's all over trickster, but this trickster would always try and like weave, ensnare people in his web. We call him Iktomi, spider, but he ensnares people in the web of trickery and deceit to, kind of capitalizes on people's weaknesses, their weaknesses. Anyway, so this trickster Iktomi, he tricked people and doing really horrible, vile things. So bad, in fact, that these people, there's no place on earth that would accept them, so they are exiled to the moon. So that's what these people were talking about. They say, "Oh, that's nothing. They've been to the moon a long time ago." And then they said, "In fact, next time you go to the moon, we take a message to our relatives over there. Tell them everything's okay. It's forgiven. They can come back anytime. A lot of time passed. If they're welcome to come back, we'll make place for them here. They have a place. They're relatives, after all. But tell them that maybe they'll like it there. Maybe they like it there. But tell our relatives over there." Says, and then they say, "Dagni wichazo ayutashni." Says, "Don't sign anything." Because but they say don't. They say wichazo ayutashni means don't touch the pen, because years ago like when the treaties were being made, they didn't know how to write or everything like that, but they put that treaty on there where they forfeit all their land, their rights and everything, and then they put a pen on top of that treaty. And they didn't know how to write, but the people, they were kind of more or less corralled or forced into, they touched the pen. So they tell them, don't sign anything, don't touch the pen.
There's one.
Anyway, that's kind of a crazy thing, but
there's another question. How can we learn more about star knowledge and connect more to walking well on the road together? Do you have any suggestions?
About the star knowledge? Yeah. Well, like the star knowledge, it really does help the people in their personal lives. Like I mentioned before about this pilgrimage to that highest point in the Black Hills. We call it Ihakahapaha, the Owlmaker Peak, but it was renamed Black Elk Peak because of the famous Black Elk, right, who would go there to pray in his youth and then as an elder too. But anyway, so they reinstituted this pilgrimage to the top. So then when a person makes that pilgrimage, like every step is a prayer for the departed loved ones. And they do that when the thunders come back, when the first thunders come back, the sound of the thunders, and that represents the renewal of the creation as well. So things like this, you know, when people incorporate the star knowledge, and then even like the all around the Black Hills, they call that Ki'ianka Ochanku, the racetrack. And so this represents, again, it's a creation story about the animals had a race to determine the ascendancy. These are all kind of complex stories, but anyway, so nowadays, you know, like the youth, maybe Lakota or Cheyenne or different tribes will make their pilgrimages and even have runs that they'll do all around the Black Hills. I don't know, like it's a couple 100 miles all around that they'll do that. So this is all part of the star knowledge. And then even like the most important, probably the most important star knowledge might be the morning star. The morning star represents in many cases like a heroic figure who pushes all the darkness, all the cold, all the lifelessness, all the forces of disintegration away and prepares the way for the new day at the dawn. And so this is why all over North America, one of the practices is to make people get out and they'll make that run towards the dawn. You hear that. Prayer runs, prayer runs are often inspired through star knowledge and things like this. So these are kind of like more devotional practices or usages of star knowledge. But also there's a lot of stories, about how the stars came down and connected with the humans and created new families. This is why a lot of the people do have, the star clans amongst themselves. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I just was handed a note and they said that they definitely want to have you down here at the museum to do more events and more sessions on your flute making and everything else. And I just want to say thank you for being here today, Kevin, sharing your
I'd love
knowledge
to do
and
that.
sharing everything.
Yeah, I do a lot of workshops. I've got this curriculum where we make the indigenous flutes, the original tune flutes, and I've got all the, we use it really as a strategy for language revitalization. So we can do that. It's really effective in that way because everybody learns language through music. No matter what language you speak, you learn basics through music anyway.
Yeah. All right, Charlotte, you got anything to say?
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, my pleasure. I
We'll
really appreciate the opportunity, and I wish everybody a lot of good blessings on this path of life, the road of life. That we're going through this stage right now. It's a collective journey, but we will come out on the other end, and we'll come out renewed and inspired and refreshed, and a new determination, to really bring these paths together so we can bring all these blessings into the world. We need that as we make this journey, throughout this world and the worlds beyond. So it's really a blessing. I'm so happy to be a part of the museum's initiative here for this conference this weekend. Thank you.
Well, blessings to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye for now.